Literally, I wanted to make this video for one reason, and one reason specifically just for the fact that I always hear this all the time, not just from fans or even just like people that like former wrestlers, but I always hear this within the company. And that is the fact that, as you can tell by the title, you can already see where I'm going with this. And it's the fact that people are always saying that the women division is so stacked and it's better than it's ever been, and that, it's at, these wrestlers, these women wrestlers are carrying it, or these people are making it better, or there's just so much good talent, and it's better than the women's division back then. Like we always hear all these narratives in WWE, and I want to make this video to pretty much explain like why I don't believe that, why I think that's all wrong, and why the women's division is not good. Because, bro, in WWE, we have so many women's wrestlers that they always brag about, and just in general, as a whole, they always try to like lie and say, oh, the women's division is stacked. And so I want to make this video to pretty much rebuttal all those things, because it's just BS, man. And so hopefully you guys enjoy, like, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, pretty much, comment down below if you want to see more videos like this, but more WWE review videos or whatever, I don't know. Like, just let me know any type of WWE videos that you want to watch. But pretty much we're just going to dive right into this. So when it comes to WWE, like I said, they always spew that narrative about the women's division being stacked and it being the best it's ever been. But who in the women's division are they talking about? They say that about literally a whole bunch of people. People that aren't even good whatsoever. They talk about Rhea Ripley. They talk about Nikki Bella. They talk about, especially her. I mean, like, you guys seen the amount of times that she's like done absolutely nothing since she's returned last year. And I don't remember, it was in a big PLE, but ever since she's returned, they've been saying, oh, Nikki Bella, she's carried the women's division back then. She's inspired so many women to join the WWE. She's such a big part of this division right now, and like with her being in it, it's like it elevates it. It's like you would think they're talking about like prime Stone Cold right here, bro, or like The Rock, but they're talking about Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella, like what? Like literally, no one even really cared about her throughout her whole career. She's never really done anything significant, and like she didn't really become really relevant until she started dating John Cena. And like but you would think with the way they hype her up, she's like some like massive, big, influential force within this company, when she's not. She's not at all. And so that's why it annoys me when and then, not to mention, she's literally has done nothing since she's returned, and yet they still hype her up like she's some big deal. But she says and does nothing. She barely shows up. She's boring, and like she's always constantly losing. And then they, like Rhea Ripley too. Like they're always hyping her up, like, oh my gosh, Rhea Ripley, she's such an intricate part of this division, and like she's like, without her, like, she's like basically carrying it on her back, and she's elevating it. She's doing so many good things, and she's just such a massive star. And it's like, bro, you're talking about her like if she's done or said anything meaningful for like the past 2 years. When was the last time you've heard a good promo from Rhea Ripley? When was the last time? Like literally. Because yeah, whenever she goes to these crowds, they cheer for her constantly. But like, let's be honest, these crowds, they most of them, they cheer for anything, man. Like they literally cheer for anything. And like, like they'll just like, and it's either because like certain superstars they like it, or it's because they're, it's WWE, it's like a big company, and they may have been a fan growing up, and then they see it come to their city, and so they're just so excited. The those are like the two reasons why like these crowds are always just cheering for everything, because they're just so happy to be there and to see certain people. But it has nothing to do with skill, because if that was the case, Rhea Ripley would not be being cheered at all. Like, what the hell has Rhea Ripley done that's so special? Literally, what has she done? Because the past 2 years, I haven't heard a good promo from her since like her feud that she had with who was it? Yeah, Liv Morgan. Literally, that whole feud. You know, she was like cutting good promos there, but after that, she went downhill. She became boring and stale, and to me she was always boring and stale, because I've literally never, like, I never understood the hype around her. She only became popular because of Dominic Mysterio, her being the girlfriend of her and being called mommy, and her catchphrase, "Oh, mommy's always on top," and her dressing in golf, like that kind of stuff. That's what got her over. And so, people, I feel like they're also just living off of who she was in the past and not what she's really doing currently. Because she's just not good. She doesn't cut good promos. She's boring as hell. Her and Io are constantly just like in this weird little tag team BS that they're doing all constantly, and just pointing at each other, and like, that's all they do. When they get on that mic, they're not actually saying some meaningful, groundbreaking stuff. Yet the crowd still cheers for them, and so many people online still like them. And the commentators, they talk so highly of Rhea Ripley, and the women's division in general. They're constantly saying it's stacked. Stacked of what? Jobbers? Who is stacked? Who are you considering to be stacked when you talk about these people? Stacked of what? Because all I see is a whole bunch of jobbers and a whole bunch of just untalented wrestlers. Like, literally, Roxanne Perez. Like what exactly makes her stacked whenever it comes to the women's division in WWE right now? What exactly could you consider stacked about her? Because here's the thing. I think I like Roxanne Perez because I think she has potential and she's young. But like, let's be real here though. She's a jobber right now. She's not doing or saying anything of substance while she's in Judgment Day, since she's been on the main roster. She's boring. There's no interesting storylines that she's been a part of. There's no meaningful matches that she's been in. And she's constantly losing all the time. It's just, and the rest of the Judgment Day is the same thing. But like, yeah, and it's like what? And who else could he be talking about? Like Lyra Valkyria? She's a jobber too. Like, constantly losing all the time. And again, she's not in any interesting storylines. She's just doing this meaningless, filler tag with Bayley. And like, just, them just like, oh, look, we're friends, and, high fives, and talking about how they like each other, and that's it. Like, that's all she does. What exactly is Lyra Valkyria contributing to the women's division? Like, what exactly makes her stacked when it comes to her being a part of the women's division? Huh? You're considering that stacked? Like WWE and all the fans and all the wrestlers and everyone in it, like, all of these people that are saying it's stacked. What exactly makes any of these people stacked? You're telling me like Tiffany Stratton makes it stacked when all she does is say, "It's Tiffy time, it's Tiffy time," and then like literally just like cuts a promo, the same promo where she's like, "Oh, like basically saying I'm the best and I'm gonna beat you, and it's Tiffy time, and that's it." How is that a good promo? She says the same stuff every week. Literally. She says the catchphrase. What exactly about Tiffany Stratton makes the women's division stacked? What exactly about like freaking, I'm trying to think of names, because like I can't even think of them, because there's not really many stars within the women's division, for one, and there's so many jobbers, for two, and there's so many just women's wrestlers that aren't doing or saying anything of meaning, and are just like they're just there and not really doing anything, or they're not there at all. So yeah, those are all the issues here, and that I'm trying to point out. Like what exactly about like AJ Lee makes the women's division stacked? What exactly about, she came back. She did that she did the whole tag with, CM Punk, AJ, and Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. She did the mixed tag team thing. Then what? She did a meaningless War Games, that filler ass shit. The men's and women's War Games was trash. It meant nothing at all. And she was a part of it. Then she kept going through this phase of disappearing and then reappearing and then disappearing. She's more part-time than Roman Reigns, bro. What exactly makes her stacked whenever she's a part of this women's division? Other than her being a popular name. That doesn't mean shit. You can have all the popular names all you want, which most of the women's wrestlers aren't even like stars, let alone like doing anything superstar level, So it's like, how the fuck is this women's division stacked? How? What exactly makes it stacked? I don't get it, man. And then for them to say it's the best, this women's division is the best it's ever been. In what way? Literally. And literally in what way? Don't get me wrong. I have, there is WWE women's wrestlers that I like, but like, let's not sit here and act like it's, let's not sit here and go with these narratives and spin these narratives that it's the best it's ever been and that it's so stacked. Like, it's just not true, man. It's all BS. Like, if that was really true, then first of all, why the hell do these wrestlers have to keep repeating that? Why the hell do the commentators and all them have to keep repeating that? Why the hell do fans have to keep repeating it? If it's just so great, then we would just know it. We would see it. We would feel it. But no, we don't see or feel anything because it's not true. It's like it's literally like they're trying so hard to just spin that narrative to like really, make people buy into it. But it's just not true, man. It's not the best it's ever been. It's not stacked. It sucks. That's what it is. Literally. Like I just, this women's division is fucking trash. There is women's wrestlers that I like in WWE. For sure. Like I like Roxanne Perez. I like Liv Morgan. I like Chelsea Green. I like Becky Lynch. I even like Lyra Valkyria. I like freaking, I forget. I'm trying to think of the other ones I like as well. God damn it. And yeah, I even like Raquel. Raquel Rodriguez. I like her too. But again, it doesn't matter which ones wrestlers I like or don't like, because at the end of the day, the majority of them are not stars. The majority of them are jobbers, and the majority of them are not doing or saying anything meaningful in their career right now. And it's not their fault. I mean, that's the way kind of, mostly on the booking, but there's still a good part of it that's on them too, because they have a voice as well, and they could easily, speak out on what they think is not good for their characters and in the writing. But nonetheless, like, I still can't. I'm still not gonna sit here and act like this women's division is good, just because there's women's wrestlers that I like. Even the men's division, there's men's wrestlers in the men's division that I like in WWE, but I'm not gonna sit here and say like the men's wrestlers, they're so good, like it's so stacked and it's the best. We have the best men in WWE than ever before, because it's just BS. Come on, man. Like, there is, you know, there's a lot of wrestlers that I like, man, but I can't sit here and lie and be like, oh yeah, you know, the whole, you know, the whole division as a whole is good because of this person. I like this person or that person. It's just I can't do that, bro. The booking of these women's wrestlers is why they're just not, why I don't and why many others don't care about them. You think people care about like freaking, like, you think people care about, like, I'm trying to give an example here, like Ivy Nile. She gets no reaction when she comes out because no one cares about her. She barely shows up on TV. She barely wrestles. She has no storylines that she's a part of when she does show up. She cuts no good promos. That's you think people care about her? I'm sure she has fans, but it sure so is very little whenever it's in the crowd or online. No one gives a fuck. No one cares. Like, no one's out here like saying, "Oh, we want Ivy Nile to be WWE's world champion." Like, you don't really see that online or in the crowd. Like, you don't get that because no one cares. Like, even like BFAB, you think people care about her? She barely gets any reaction when she comes out. You know, like, most of these women in WWE right now, they're just not. They're not entertaining. They're not interesting, and they're just, most of them are jobbers, doing a whole lot of like BS. You know, they don't have any storylines. They're not cutting entertaining promos. They don't have any charisma whatsoever for a WWE wrestler, and so yeah, the proof is in the pudding, man. Like, literally. So that's pretty much my whole thing here. That's pretty much my whole response. My whole rebuttal to all these people that keep saying, "Oh yeah, the women's division is so stacked. It's the best it's ever been." It's fucking BS, man. Come on, it's BS. The WWE's women's division, it sucks. It sucks. Most of these wrestlers, they're just not good. They're not good, And it's unfortunate because I know there is WWE women's wrestlers that have potential, but like, even the ones that I like, the women's wrestlers that I do like, and even men's wrestlers that I do like, even they are not being booked good. Like, literally no one is. The majority of the people in WWE are not being booked good, whether it be in the men's division or the women's division. It doesn't even matter. Like, they're like, even because like I said, even the men and the men's wrestlers and the women's wrestlers that I like, even they're not being booked good. Like I said, like, freaking, I like, I like for example, freaking Trick Williams. I like Trick Williams, but he's not really being booked good. He came to the main roster. I mean, I know he's cut some good promos, I'll admit, but like, storyline wise and matches wise, like, he's not really doing anything. But and I just don't really see him doing anything meaningful. I like freaking a lot of like other. There's a lot of other. Like, for example, I also like Raquel Rodriguez. I like her. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that she's being booked good, because she's not. She's not being booked good at all. Because when it comes to promos, I've probably only heard like maybe 2 or 3 good promos from her. Like, and most of the time she doesn't even cut promos. She's just like backstage. And she barely wrestles either. But when she does wrestle, she has that, she has that strength. She has that She has, you know, that dominance, you know. So I feel like with the good booking, she has the potential to be a good, dominant heel wrestler, you know. She does. But she's not she's not really wrestling, and she's not really cutting any promos. She's not really like, and when she's backstage, she's not really doing or saying anything meaningful either. So it's like you could only like these wrestlers so much, but like if they're not being booked good, you can't sit here and say that they're 100% good, or that, you know, they're contributing to, you know, the women's division or the men's division, you know, whatever. You know, you just can't say that. So at the end of the day, man, like I can't, you know, there's just like, I just can't agree with these narratives, man. Like especially by WWE and the wrestlers, like they try so hard to put that in your brain to like brainwash the fans into thinking that this division is so good and it's the best it's ever been and it's so stacked and blah blah blah. Come on, man, it fucking sucks. It sucks. It does. You know, I understand liking wrestlers from like there's wrestlers that a lot of people that I can see why they like them, because like the big time star wrestlers that maybe people liked back then because they were good, because like that I never really saw from them. I could understand that, and maybe they think that they have potential for their booking to be better, or maybe they think they just or maybe they think in general that their character isn't good but have potential to be better in general. I get that. But from what I'm seeing though, just like as a whole, like most of these women's wrestlers, they just suck. They suck. And like worse than the men. Because I see people saying that, you know, the women's wrestlers are better than the men. I just don't see it, man. Like me personally, I don't see it. Like I'm not saying, like I said, the men's wrestlers in WWE, a lot of them suck too. But if I'm talking about promos and matches and storylines, like a lot of that is better in the men's division than in the women's division. Not by a lot, because like both, like I said, WWE as a whole sucks. It doesn't even matter like what division it is. But like if there is certain storylines or like matches or promos that I see more of that are better, then yeah, it would have to be on the men's side of the wrestling, because like that's just where I see more of the entertainment. That's where I see more of the skill. That, you know, I see it more often there than in the women's division in WWE. So that's just I just don't agree with these people who say that it's better, because I just don't see it. So anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.